Morning.
Morning, Fayez.
Morning to you all.
Morning, sir.
Good to see smiling faces. I'm not sure whether I should call you virtual or real, but you look real enough to me. Okay, so we have plenty to discuss, but the first one, you all see the shared presentation, yeah?
Yes, sir.
So that is showing a kind of a massive wave, I call it a tsunami wave. And there is a good reason for putting that. It has, in my mind, a dual meaning. One, I think the world is witnessing a form of a tsunami coming. I can't say I'm very pessimistic, but I am trying my best so that we are prepared and we're not surprised by it. There is so many changes happening in the world, economically, politically, militarily, food, inflation, interest rate. All these forces are playing out, and really they will affect the life of people across the globe quite seriously. We are somewhat cushioned in the UAE, but we mustn't relax too much. We're not that cushioned. Now, on top of these basic economic trends and political trends, there is a technology trends, and that's where we have to focus our energy. Interestingly, that kind of waves and technology waves, some of you might recall we talked about tech waves exactly 7 years ago. It was 26th of May 2015. So I talked to you about the waves. I'm going to refresh your mind on it very quickly and then we can come to the metaverse. The challenge with the metaverse, I think you're going to find, is the younger you are, it's going to be a little bit easier to absorb. The older ones amongst us, it'll be trying to describe the taste of a peach. Can anybody describe the taste of a peach? I doubt it. I think you'll be able to describe something, but it won't be the peach. And you have to taste it to know what we are talking about. If you haven't tasted it, you can talk all day. So you'll have to forgive me if at the end of today's presentation, you're no wiser, because I am trying to describe something like that, but until you live it, it's just words. And putting words together does not make an experience. You have to experience it yourself. Okay, so when we talked about the trends, I have witnessed them from 1981 onwards, so I could talk about them with some confidence. In fact, when I did talk about the waves, I remember one of the magazines came to do an interview because they thought it was an interesting way maybe to describe them. And they thought it was some study that came out of one of the university, and it had nothing to do with that. I just watched waves coming on from the sea, and usually the seventh wave in the ocean is usually the biggest, and then they die off a bit, then they build up, and then you get the seventh wave. So that's where the terminology came into it. However, recently I've had to update my terminology because there's another wave coming and it's probably bigger than all the others before it. In the previous presentation, IoT was going to be the biggest wave, but IoT seems to be absorbed quite well in society, in our industry. And it's a good wave, but it hasn't changed our life that dramatically. So the first wave we had is the personal computer wave. That came in 81. And those of you who lived since then, I think most of you, this is a history lesson for you, but if you were around, personal computer was that wave. It was very interesting. It was in a way a pejorative word, personal computer, who wants to buy personal computer? It's not a serious computer. Then the next wave, when we started to connect them, there was a networking wave, but let's call it all internet, as everything got connected. And that is now playing out in a major way in our life. Back then, if we talked about internet, it'll be just like me now talking about the metaverse. I think you all, nobody thought this is something that we should care about, didn't mean anything. And we talked about cyberspace and nobody knew what we were talking about. Now, if I say anything to you and I try to explain it, you'll look at me strange. Why do you have to explain? It's like trying to explain water. And hopefully we will have that feeling about the metaverse sometime soon. Then cloud computing, if you remember how much time and effort we took to explain it to people and how it's going to change the world, etc. Now, even a small child can tell you what cloud computing is. So I'm not spending any time on those because they're history and we're all extremely familiar. Smart mobility, now I don't know even if you're the remotest part of the world, children, laborers, rich people, everybody has a smart phone and they know all about smart mobility. And then Internet of Things, it was a concept and now it's a reality. There are devices, connected devices everywhere, and that has resulted in huge amount of data collected. And that data became what we call big data. It's really interesting how we absorb this. Human mind is amazing at how first it's baffled by a concept, slowly it becomes second nature. Now, I don't think anybody asks what is big data. We've all heard of it. And when you hear it first time, it's always strange. Hear it a few times, you take it on board and it becomes part of your lingo. So machine learning, AI, none of this is strange and it's all essential to bring us to the next wave, which is, I think, will be a major wave. Why do we need to talk about it? Because it's going to affect everybody. That's what tsunami looks like. I hope it will be a positive tsunami, but I'm not so sure. I think how it will play out, we don't know. We only know that we need to understand it. We owe it to ourselves, our organization, our livelihood to be leaders in that waves, not laggards and not have people have adopted and dealing with something that we're still wondering what is it. And that wave is the metaverse. So some of you may have played in that, understand that, and don't need too much introduction to that, but I'm going to assume, if you don't mind, that we are fairly blank on that, or at least not that familiar. And I will go through it step by step so that at the end of today, hopefully you all feel that, yes, I've got an inkling. Like I said, it's like describing a taste of a peach. I am not going to be able to explain it fully to you, so please don't judge me on that. You need to experience it. All I am is giving you a flag saying, let's take this on board. It's going to affect our life, our business, the way people act and react. And I will show you some ways in this, how this is going to affect our life, and then see if we can be prepared going forward to deal with it, to profit from it, to help others adopt it. So strictly the definition is a virtual reality in which users can interact with a virtual environment and other users. So you enter a virtual reality, has to be of a certain, if you like, specification, and you can interact with that environment and other users. That's a simplest form of it. So keep that in mind. Maybe you want to refer to it in the future. Do we need it? Anybody think we need it? Or is it just we just love to play with toys whether we need them or not? Anyone like to say whether we need it or not? I just stop myself so I'm not talking one way and see if it can be two ways. It's not easy, and I notice very few courageous souls say something.
I don't think we need it.
Okay, so we got, okay, somebody else contradict that, please. Or you can all agree we don't need it and we'll shut the presentation and move on.
Good morning, Fayez.
Morning.
I think we use it already, but we just use it in a simpler form.
Okay, that's also valid. That's interesting. Okay, so do we need it? You could have asked that questions back when the internet started. Some people said, do we need it? What's all this about internet and, sort of www this and www that, and what do we need all this? I have a network, I send messages, I'm okay. Now, you would never ask that question. I don't know if it'll be the same for the metaverse. I'm no sort of crystal ball with me, but I think we will soon see that this is part of life, whether we like it or not. And the examples I'll share with you, maybe you'll see some angles and then you'll add your own. So there are lots of business opportunities in the metaverse. It could be shopping experiences, social media, employee engagement, virtual events, immersive learning, and I can count 100. This is not intended to show you what they are. Let's take education. We think education at the moment is almost like a 2D relationship, even if you're talking Zoom. If like, let's take an ant only does 2D and can only navigate the world in 2D. A bird can navigate in 3D. And I think a bird has a much farther view, much more powerful command of its environment because it acts in 3D. I think it will happen in classrooms, in companies, in factories, where education becomes virtual in a metaverse, and we will act and react in a much more powerful way. All this is ideas. You have your own ideas, and I respect that. It may or may not happen that way, but I think the trends are very strong. I see the investments going in the metaverse, and they are billions upon billions. Those things don't happen without so much investment, and we will see those results. The metaverse already adopted in a strong way in the gaming world. We all play games in a virtual reality, 3D reality, and it's extremely immersive. And I think most of us may have played a game or two, but soon this might become the only game in town. We'll see some more examples. For us, just like when we talked about cloud, we will want to talk about how do we help if we buy into this idea that the metaverse is here to stay and it's going to grow and becomes huge. How do we help other organizations adopt and adapt? You might be dealing with a company, a ministry, etc., and we will end up, they're saying, yeah, I like the ideas. Can you help me? Can you hold my hand to move into that technology? And that's what we did with the cloud. If you remember, we became kind of consultants, we became kind of developers, and we helped a number of people. This is even more challenging to create immersive environment, which is very strange environment, but very soon, if you keep an open mind, can become part of your life. So in the metaverse, just like we're doing now, if you go look on the billboard on Sheikh Zayed Road, you will have your billboards in the metaverse, and those will create a lot of income opportunity for a lot of people. Improving business operation. I am, whenever I'm trying to explain something to someone over the phone, that's one level of communication. If I have the phone and I communicate with a Zoom call, for instance, it's still a flat 2D. And I will tell you, we need to connect this with that and operate it this way. Maybe you can enhance the efficiency that way. But if you had VR headset and I had it, and I can show you in 3D exactly how we can improve it, the visualization is far more powerful. And you will get it just like that. While if I'm just sending you a WhatsApp, it's tough. If I send you a phone it's a bit easier. If I Zoom you, even easier. If I do it in virtual reality, in metaverse, it'll be instantaneous, just like we are together. And we will not be together, most of us. Now the world is too big, travel is difficult, but this is the nearest thing we will get to it, to improving our operation. What about concerts and functions in the metaverse? This is already happening, and you can attend those, and they're very lively, very immersive, and you still pay. But to do them, now you enter into another challenge. Where would you hold the concert? What do you think? Where would you hold the concert and invite people to come? It should make you think, okay, I can do a concert, but the metaverse is not like the physical reality in all aspects. I have to invite you somewhere. Here I say, come to this arena in Dubai, we'll do a concert. Where would I do it in the metaverse?
Virtual arena.
On which street, plot of land, theater, where would I do it? So you move to the next, sorry, who was saying?
Satish, virtual arena. You have to create a virtual, conference hall or virtual place.
Yeah, but where is this? Because remember, virtual now means there are other people involved. They're attending. I have to tell them where to come because it's a universe. If they don't know the address where to come and meet other avatars, so to speak, we will be all lost all over this universe, but we don't come to the concert. So we will see very quickly now the next step. Guess what's happening? People are buying real estate in the metaverse. And, it's just an idea, but already 500 million exchanged this year in buying land. And in case you think this is, America, they're crazy, Dubai is already onto it. And I think just like they sold us the sand before to put on it buildings and so on, they'll sell us the virtual world soon. And those are actual plots sold in Dubai for a value, and look per square foot as well in square meters. And you think, why would I buy a plot in the metaverse? Well, that could be your arena. And then you invite everybody to this virtual address in the arena and attend the concert. You just have to open your mind. What are the possibilities? What can happen? I'm not telling you this as facts and figures. I'm just telling you these are possibilities. You have to be ready to deal with them and lead the charge and hold people's hand to succeed in that area. So let's talk about what essentially has to happen to call it a metaverse. Okay. So the very first thing, you can't have a metaverse just because you have one component and say I have a metaverse. It could be just a very simple one-to-one call on a Zoom call. You can't call that a metaverse. So the very first thing you need is you need an immersive reality that has avatars and objects. You're all familiar with avatars, right? You've even seen the film Avatar, but the avatars, especially in gaming, anybody who does games, they know what an avatar is. And now I'll show you something about this. Avatar signals something. Depending what kind of avatar it is, it will show other people what kind of a person you are. Now, try and guess what this is going to signal to you. Not that I'm an ape. See what oh, sorry. This, can you see it?
Yes, fine.
Do you know what this is?
Board ape.
NFT.
It's Bored Ape, it's an NFT. And do you know what is that signaling? I'll tell you what is signaling. To buy one of those NFTs, is Bored Ape, you have to spend like $200,000. So you must think, if this guy has a Bored Ape as his avatar, hey, it must be a big shot. And in case you think crazy people, Bored Ape for $200,000, well, let me put it to you, we already do crazy things. What do you think this is? You know, they look at this one, number 50, sold 31 million. What exactly you paid 31 million for? It's a form of signaling. You're saying I'm a big shot, I have a lot of money, and when I drive my car, people take notice. Exactly as we did here. If I have that avatar. In a gaming world, if you have that jacket, signals something. If you have a certain belt, signals something. The glasses might be worth, $500. And I don't mean dollars as in virtual dollars. These are real dollars, only they could be a Bitcoin kind of dollar, sort of blockchain kind of crypto. It's not dollar or US dollar. So don't laugh it off. These apes are very expensive and they signal something. Get used to it. That is life. It's going to be, if not your life, it will be your children's. And if you avoid it, you will be left behind. There's nothing you can do about it. It is happening. Next thing, the environment you create has to be immersive enough that you can lose yourself in this virtual environment for it to be a metaverse. So it has to be immersive enough, rich enough in details that you think, this feels just even better than real life. Who needs to go to Ras Al Khaimah? I'd rather go in the metaverse. And today I have seen it with our children. I see with my granddaughter, her world is on a smartphone. She comes every week and spends an evening with us, stays the night, but actually we don't see a great deal of her. She's very busy on her phone. Her reality, her friends, etc., is all virtual. And that's not immersive like what I'm talking about here. Wait for it to become a metaverse reality. We will become extremely boring. I don't think I'll be able to keep her attention for more than 5 minutes. That's the reality we're going to go to. Now, you might have a value judgment and say, well, no, this is not the real world. It's bad for everybody. Nobody's asking your opinion, frankly. They're doing it, whether you like it or not, it's happening. And if you have small ones, especially the 10 years, the sort of bracket, plus or minus 5 years, that's the reality, like it or hate it. Then we need one more component. So we need avatars, because that represent you and what it signals about you. We need an immersive reality that makes it attractive. I lose myself in there. And I think it's rich enough. I'm willing to live my life there. And when they end up sending people to Mars, what do you think is going to happen? They'll put them on a 6 months trip to Mars, just hooked up, sitting there waiting to arrive on Mars. They will end up being in a virtual reality. They will end up immersed and they will live a different life. Otherwise, you would have to put them in hibernation. And that's a possibility, but we haven't discovered how you put a human being in hibernation for 6 months. We've only seen it in science fiction, but we haven't seen it in reality, because human body, bones, etc., everything starts to shut down if you hibernate. Last component of a metaverse is a virtual economy. We have to pay for things, be paid for them. This is an exhibition full of NFTs, but almost anything and everything will become tradable. As soon as we adopt Web3, some of you may be familiar with that, many won't be, but Web3 is all about monetization of our life and everything we do. Today, we are the product. On Web3, our attention has a price, our time has a price, and we become participant and have to be paid for what now we feed the whole internet. A few very large organizations like Facebook or Meta, Google, and the rest of them, they sort of suck our resources, our attention for free, and then sell us back their services or sell us as a product to watch adverts. That's not going to happen on Web3. It becomes all cryptos paying for everything. So decentralized finance of everything. So you need that, and that's coming. It's happening regardless. NFT are here to stay. We did talk about NFTs. Hopefully you still retain some details from that presentation. So NFTs are very, very useful. So that gives you, hopefully, I don't know how many of you got a flavor about what I'm talking about, and how many of you can take that information and say, wait a minute, what about, am I going to talk to my customers about this? Have I got it enough to share something? Have I got it enough to help if they say, well, I like what you're talking about, and how do we incorporate it in our business? How can we impact? And this is the beginning, if you like, of tasting the peach. Now you'll have to hopefully get yourself, or we maybe get one in Abu Dhabi, one in Dubai, one of these headsets, and let everybody have a chance to live it. So we'll do some research, get some of the best ones on the market, and you live it. I guarantee you the first experience will not be easy. It's not an easy one. In fact, if you want a flavor of it, I'll share with you something before you leave. So question is, are we prepared? Today, we cannot possibly be prepared, but we prepared mentally that there is a wave coming. And are we ahead of the wave, or have we lagged behind? Lagged behind is not possible, it's still in its infancy, but it's happening. And some people throwing real money at it, and some watching to see what happens. So you need to say, am I prepared? And it's your turn to take action. So I'm done here, but I want to tell you there is a small video that, you know, absence of a VR headset, watch the video. It's an experience of this reporter who went to report to the Wall Street Journal an experience of 24 hours in virtual reality. So she went, checked into a hotel, put the VR headset, and they only took them off when she wanted to eat. And they lived for 24 hours. It gives a flavor of somebody who lived it. I'm not suggesting you live it. It's a bit challenging to do that, but I think that would normally give you a really good experience. So I will share the link for that video, and I encourage you to watch it. I was tempted to put it on, but it's about 7 minutes. We are already hitting 30 minutes, which is where I like to end things. I hope it meant something to you. Thank you very much. And I'd like now for you to rate it. And if you have any comments, I would appreciate them. Thank you very much.